Welcome back to the Stick 'em Up podcast. Burundi, we are back. We are back for some more off-season hockey talk. This one will be coming out a bit later than our usual episode. I've been under the weather for the past couple of days here, so luckily I'm mostly back. If I sound a little bit nasally, hopefully we can power through it. But beyond that, we do still have some news, a couple of deals, a couple trades, a couple signings, and even a guy requesting a trade in the middle of the offseason. So where do we want to start with all this?
Well, first of all, I think that where we'll probably start is we'll just start with the signings. There's been quite a few since we last recorded, but we're only kind of going to go over the major ones and maybe closer to the end of the offseason, maybe late August. Maybe we'll go through and we'll list off all of the guys that were just drafted this past draft here, and we'll just kind of mention who is signed yet and who hasn't, as we know, there's a couple of guys that have committed already to go into to college hockey, so we know they won't be signing, but there's going to be lots of others that are going to sign and whatnot. But like you said, we took a couple of days off here. It is the off season, obviously. I had a bunch of stuff going on. You weren't feeling well. We kind of gave ourselves a little bit of a week off, but I went back and looked, and we just started our third full season coverage here. And I went back and looked for our season 2 coverage, 98 episodes. And 98. We were doing pretty much 2 a week. So 98, I mean, that means we only went 6 weeks, all of the entirety of last season, where we didn't do 2 episodes a week. So we were cranking out a lot of episodes. We were here twice a week. We were doing our thing. And yeah, you know what? It's the off season. If the players get a little bit of a rest, I think we earned a little bit of a rest. And so we did that, but we are now back, and we can dive right into the signings here. What do we got here? We got 6 after a week and a half. That kind of shows how quiet this offseason has been so far, but we can just dive right in. The first one is that the Florida Panthers re-signed RFA forward Mackie Samoskevich to a 1-year, $775,000 deal. It's a good deal. Very good deal.
He clearly enjoys winning, and he wants to keep doing that with Florida, like a lot of guys are right now. Like he could have easily asked for 1.5 a year, and they would have said, and that would have been a steal for that year as well. Like this guy is pretty damn good. I think he might have even clawed into the top 5 for Calder voting, or he was at least in the top 10. I know he was.
As you said, I think maybe top 10. I don't think he reached the top 5 in the end.
He was hovering around that top
in
7
72 games, but
for a rookie in the bottom 6, that's pretty pretty damn good on a stacked Florida team. So
stacked that he
didn't
play in the playoffs. He only played 4 games.
Yeah, they took him out, and they never put him back in. I believe most of those games he played were either against Tampa or Toronto, or a mix of both. And yeah, he played great, and he just didn't get back into the lineup because it's such a deep team. So, they're going to stay stacked for another year. Not just because of this, but signings like this definitely helps.
100%. And it's great. And again, 72 games played, 15 goals, 16 assists, 31 points. Again, playing in a bottom 6 role. As even though it's Florida and as good as they are, that's still impressive regardless where you played doing that as a rookie. So to get him back again on a 1-year deal, $775,000. Expect him to play again the whole season with Florida, all the playoffs. I don't expect him to be a guy that comes out of the lineup again come playoff time, and again, a guy that's probably should be a lock for at least 35 points for you. Only making $775,000. Great deal for Florida.
Yeah.
Hit us with the next one here. You got a.
Yeah, we got this one. Yeah, sure. Next one, which I guess we'll tie this in with one of the trades that we'll be talking about. Edmonton signs rookie Isaac Howard to a 3-year entry-level deal. This obviously coming off of the heels of Edmonton trading Sam O'Reilly to Tampa Bay in exchange for Isaac Howard. I know a lot of. It's funny. I've seen a lot of different thoughts on this trade. Of like, you know, Tampa got fleeced. Isaac Howard just won the Hobie Baker. But I've also seen people saying, their hands were completely tied. The fact that they got any prospect of consequence is good for them. So I definitely think it's one of those cases where it lands somewhere in the middle. Their hands were tied. They weren't going to be able to get anything great, but it's still a good asset. Like the amount of people saying like, I hope my team doesn't give up any more than a second for Howard, because Tampa, if the rights were to run out, it was just gonna they were gonna get a second round pick at the end of the second round next year as compensation. So so people were saying, I don't want my team to give up more than that for Howard. And it's like, well, yeah, sure, but what if you give up a first round pick and then he becomes a point per game player for you? Like,
Yeah.
sometimes it's worth overpaying to, get the guy who's going to be good. And Sam O'Reilly, I believe he was drafted last offseason.
Yeah.
And
he was the very end of the first round.
Because we actually talked a decent bit about him, because he was the guy that we were very confused, because they traded what was it, this year's first round pick to get back into the first round last year.
Yeah.
And then choose him or something like that. Like they basically, used a first rounder when they could have been pitching him out the door trying to win now. So we thought it was weird, but they took a reach on this guy, so they clearly liked him, and so does Tampa. So realistically, probably both middle six guys, one a bit more defensive than the other. So yeah, I don't mind the trade. I definitely think it's the right call by Edmonton to sign him to his ELC right now. Howard's much more NHL ready.
Well, and they kind of had to. Like, that was the whole thing, is like, if a team was going to trade for him, you had to sign him right away.
Yeah, otherwise you're just taking the situation Tampa was in and putting yourself into it.
Exactly. And, like you said, yes, he did win the Hobie Baker Award, and that is, it's very impressive anytime a player does it. But, you go and you look through, like, past Hobie Baker winners, right? And, yeah, Isaac Howard just won it, but he was, a junior. So he was already now playing his, third year of college hockey. It's not like guys 21. Like, Celebrini, Fantilli, Jack Eichel, like guys who are doing it as freshmen, like as 18-year-olds, or their first year of college hockey type of thing. But when you kind of look at some of the guys who won the Hobie Bakers juniors, it's not super impressive in the end for those guys in terms of their translation to the NHL. No disrespect to these guys, like they're still good players, and they're still playing in the league for a reason. But Scott Perunovich won the Hobie Baker as a junior. Adam Gaudette won it as a junior. You go back even a little bit further, back 2006, Matt Carl, who was decent for a bit but didn't have the longest career. And then, of course, you have Johnny Gaudreau in 2014. So, you kind of look at it and you don't fully know what to expect. Like, it's not like when these younger guys, even,
all guys that did play in the NHL.
Yeah. Like Cole Caulfield and Cale Makar won it as sophomores, at least, in their second year. Again, it's still impressive, not to take anything away from Isaac Howard, but for people to be like, oh, he won the Hobie Baker, he's going to be a stud in this league. Like,
I don't expect him to be as good as Celebrini, right?
Like people were saying this about Jimmy Vesey, and look at that now. It was like Jimmy Vesey didn't want to stay with Nashville, and he went on to, force his way around, and it was like every team wanted him because he's the next Sidney Crosby. He's so good. He won the Hobie Baker, and then he bounced from team to team for years. I'm not even sure if he's got a contract currently at the moment. He might, but I don't know for sure because we don't hear a lot about him anymore.
Yeah.
So again, I'm fine with this deal for both teams. Honestly, I think it's basically the swapping of two very similar players. Maybe play the game a little bit differently and see the ice a bit differently. But I don't think it's anything of where one team fleeced the other one or anything like that.
Yeah, and Sam O'Reilly is probably a couple years away from getting some NHL action, which leads me to believe there's a good chance he ends up being a trade piece for Tampa. Unfortunately, I don't think I really see him playing a game for the Lightning in the end. I think there's a good chance he
I mean,
he gets
I could
packaged
see
with
that.
something to bolster some depth this year, next year, or something like that. So
Could see that,
we'll
yeah.
we'll wait and see. Who knows? Maybe that's the case, maybe not. But you know what? A team like Pittsburgh, if he could be part of the return for a Ricard Raquel later this year or something like that, a Brian Rust, like I could definitely see that being the case.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility, and I think even if people are a little bit higher on Isaac Howard and think he's going to be a better player, I think Sam O'Reilly might actually have more value, especially if in Tampa's case, like you probably weren't going to be getting as much for Isaac Howard with the uncertainty of at the trade deadline or something of you get him and then you've got 5 months to get him signed before he becomes a free agent. Where at least with Sam O'Reilly, you've got some control and he's probably happy to sign and play whatever team organization he's a part of. So
Yeah,
probably helps Tampa in that sense of it's a little more actual value there in terms of how teams would look at that.
right.
But overall, decent swap for both sides.
Yeah. I guess we're still going with the signings here. I guess this one's San Jose. Do you want to mention this one here?
Yeah. San Jose Sharks, they signed UFA forward Jeff Skinner to a 1-year, $3 million AAV deal. General manager Mike Greer, he was very vocal about wanting to find another piece to add into the top six, whether that was through a trade or free agency signing. And looks to be that this is the move to bolster their wingers in their top six. Jeff Skinner, he's been very good throughout his career. I think last year was kind of just a little bit of it just didn't work in Edmonton. And
was that his first year changing teams? Has he always been on the Sabres?
No, he's with Carolina for quite a while before Buffalo, which a lot of people tend to forget because he was still putting up good results and whatnot in Buffalo, but it's also like not a lot of people pay attention to what's going on in Buffalo. And again, for a guy that's had a pretty successful career, not many trips to the playoffs, but it just didn't work in Edmonton and could have been for a bunch of different reasons. But again, I think for $3 million, I think that's a great addition and add some good scoring touch to a team that desperately needs scoring. And again, a 1-year deal, $3 million. You retain half or whatever, even if you don't for $3 million, it's not even that hefty of a price. If he's putting up good results and good numbers with the Sharks, they definitely could get a decent return for him. Look at what they've done with guys like Jake Waltman, with Mikael Granlund. Like, they take guys that are kind of struggling somewhere and need a change of scenery. They bring them in, they put up good results, and then they get good returns for them. And I think that's what's going to end up happening here.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously, he got scratched a lot in the playoffs with Edmonton last year, and he wasn't fantastic last year for the Oilers, but he still got 29 points in 72 games. He's only 3 seasons removed from a 35 goal, 82 point season, like
with Buffalo,
and with Buffalo no less. So, I really like this. I think they're going to be able to turn him around at least somewhat. I think he's at least going to hit 40 points, maybe 40, 45, 50 with the Sharks, and then you'll easily be able to flip him for some type of draft capital. So, and at the end of the day, somebody's got to play for the Sharks in that top six, and you're going to get games played out of this guy. You're going to get to the cap floor with that deal. So, yeah.
And again,
no reason not
the
to.
Biggest thing is just like you just look at some of the careers that San Jose's kind of revived of players going through this rebuild. Maybe not guys that was like, oh, they're going to be out of the league or whatever, but it's like guys that we know are good, kind of struggled, and now it's like, all right, you come somewhere where media's not crazy. There's zero expectations. Like there's none. It's just go out there.
There's negative expectations.
Do your best, have fun, because they were all having fun last year despite being the worst team in the league. And you play good enough, you're going to get rewarded with a chance to go to a top contender to go chase a cup. and then you probably end up getting a nice deal afterwards. Look at Granlund. He was floundering for a little bit in Pittsburgh in a short stint there, and now
he was a cap dump in that trade.
and
He
now
was a
he's
cap
just
dump
signed a
for
$21
them.
million deal over 3 years.
Yeah.
Jake
No,
Walman,
that's a great point.
Detroit dumped him literally because they wanted to get rid of him so bad.
They paid to get rid of him.
He's probably going to get a really nice deal in Edmonton, assuming he sticks around there. And if he doesn't, he goes to free agency, he gets an even bigger deal.
Then he's getting paid.
So, yeah, I have no issues with the signing. I think it's good for the team. I think it's good for the player. And it'll be a short relationship, but I think it'll be a very happy and successful one.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's all you need.
I think that's by design.
That's all you need. Yeah, exactly. Buffalo. We're just talking about Buffalo. The Buffalo Sabres re-signed RFA defenseman Bowen Byram to a 2-year, $6.250 AAV deal. All right.
I mean, they got a guy to stay for 2 more years.
I don't think a guy that necessarily wants to stay there, but for that much money and only 2 years, why not?
Yeah.
Is Bowen Byram there at the end of this deal? Absolutely not. I don't see a world in which at the end of this 2-year deal, he is still a member of the Buffalo Sabres.
I think they're going to try and get him to put up really good numbers and pump his value a little bit. Maybe play him a little higher than he should be in the lineup to try and boost that value, and then move him as soon as he gets hot.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. It just, I mean, again, like, is he a bad player? Absolutely not. Bowen Byram can be a fantastic player, but there's no room in Buffalo. You've got Rasmus Dahlin, you've got Owen Power on the left side. Those are your 2 guys. Was it Kesselring they brought in from Utah? I expect him to be a staple in their top 4 going forward, and you probably want to find another righty. And I think at the end of the day, Bowen Byram is just still a good player, but going to be part of a trade that fills a need that Buffalo needs. You look at Peterka. He was moved to fill a need that the team desperately had.
Man, I still can't believe how badly they did in the return for Peterka. That one's brutal.
See, but the more I look at it, I'm like, damn, because I don't watch I didn't watch a crazy amount of like Utah and stuff, and don't watch AHL games religiously. But scouts are very high on Doan in terms of a defensive player. Like, that is insanely high. So it's like, if you get a top 4 right-handed defenseman who literally can do it all, and then you get just a 2-way beast for a centerman.
I do think Josh Doan is going to be good as well.
And
Peterka's like a known 70-point guy now.
I mean, yeah, but like, how many 70-point guys does Buffalo need? You can't go out there and just say, oh, we're going to have, all of these guys that can put up 70 points, but we've got so many of you that, we can't, you can't all play in the top 6. I mean, you got to be 70-point guys on the third line.
I think they've only really got they only had 3 of them when he was there. They don't have too many guys that can do that yet. Like, they've got quite a few guys that it looks like they will be able to, Zach Benson's and whatnot in the future. But, how long can that team look at the future? And eventually you got to look at the present and freaking do it. But
I mean, yeah,
I just think they should have gotten more value as a whole. The pieces they did get, I do really like for them.
But like, if you're sitting there and Kesselring's putting up 50 points as a defenseman, potentially, I mean, he just dropped 29 and 82 in his second full season. Now he's going to be probably playing alongside potentially Rasmus Dahlin.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, you look at it, it's like, would you rather take a 70-point? Again, like, did Buffalo win this trade? Like, absolutely not. But, if it goes that way, and it's like, would you rather have a 70-point winger? Would you rather have a 30-point stud defensive centerman and a right-hand defenseman, right-handed, because that adds more value, that puts up 50 points? I'd like a lot for both sides. But again,
That's
We're
fair.
still a couple years out from fully knowing how this deal worked out because, again, no one's got to fully translate to the NHL and whatnot. But for Bone Byram, he got paid. Good for him.
Yep.
So keep your bags packed, though. Don't use that money to settle down anywhere in Buffalo.
Yeah, don't use that money too much in general. Frankly, he was asking for a long-term deal around the AAV of, it sounded like 7.5 to 8, and no, like, you have not done anything to prove you're worth that amount of money. He's a
For that
Bone Byam's
long term.
yeah, like, he's a great player, but just
Mhm.
not a lot of guys get long-term 8 mil a season deals, and his career high
Yeah,
in
no.
what is it? His career high in points was last year. He played all 82, 38 points.
Yeah.
That's good as a defenseman for sure, especially when Dahlin's sucking up a lot of oxygen on the blue line. But that doesn't mean I'm potentially going to be better in a different situation, so I deserve 8x8. That's kind of crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. Hit us with the next one here. I know you're a big fan of this goaltender. Well, you're a fan of all goalies as a former goalie.
But I definitely
I know
am
you're
for
a big
this guy.
fan of this guy.
Yeah, Lucas Dostal has re-signed in Anaheim to a 5-year, $6.5 mil AAV deal. I absolutely love this for Anaheim. This does put him relatively high on the goalie depth chart around the league for how expensive goaltenders are. But man, Dostal has been flying under the radar because the Ducks have been so bad over the past few years, and they're finally starting to climb out of it. But he has not finished a single NHL season under 900 save percentage with all of these bad Ducks teams.
Yeah.
Like,
it's impressive. He's a good goalie, and you also look at it like people are like, it's a little bit high in the AAV. They moved John Gibson. They basically took the money they were giving to Gibson, they gave to Dostal. Awesome.
Yep. Easy.
Like, great. Perfect. That's exactly what you wanted.
I really think people are, just in general, not even just fans, but also people within the sport, really just don't look at goalies properly. They're like, oh, this guy is an elite goalie. Like a borderline, definitely top 10, borderline top 5 goalie, just in general, not in this case. Let's give him 6 mil a season. And it's like, you could be like a decent top 6 forward and get that much money. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
Having a good goalie is the best way to win games. Short of maybe a Connor McDavid, like, a great goalie is going to steal you more games than the Selke winner most years. Like, goalies are so important to the game. Paying your starter is really much more inconsequential in my mind than I think a lot of people seem to think it is. And 6.5 is not that much. If he could keep putting up the advanced stats he is, as the team just naturally gets better, his counting stats, his save percentage and whatnot is going to skyrocket. Like, he had a 903 save percentage this year. But I know he's definitely in the upper tier of goalies for, goals saved above expected and, high danger chances saved above expected. Like, his advanced stats look fantastic and his counting stats look decent for being on a bad team. So as soon as this team starts getting better, I think he's gonna really blow people away. Yeah.
Well, it's like you said, goalies are so important. Look at the last 2 Stanley Cup finals. If you swap the goalies and Edmonton has Bobrovsky and Florida's got Stuart Skinner, Edmonton's got 2 cups. And you look at 4 years ago, people were saying, when talking about the top, like the worst contracts in the league, everybody was pretty much saying Bobrovsky, like, oh, paying $10 million for a goalie is fucking insane. He's shit. And now it's like, well, who cares? Who they could have been paying him $10 million a year and 50,000 billion in signing bonus. Who cares? He got you 2 cups. He's got the Florida Panthers in a position where they can be a dynasty when they're the laughing stock of the league 10 years ago. So
Yeah,
who cares?
like 6-7 years ago even.
And if you still think it's a bad contract, who cares? He's got 2 cups. He was instrumental in winning 2 Stanley Cups for the Florida Panthers.
Every contract on your
6.5
team is a good
nothing
contract when you win.
Yeah, like 6.5 for a guy like Dostal. That's awesome work for Anaheim because I truly think he's going to be a stud goalie in this league, and he's only going to get better as the team continues to improve around him.
Yeah.
Great work. And the last signing here, the Winnipeg Jets re-sign RFA forward Gabe Vilardi to a 6-year, $7.5 million AAV deal.
Yeah, there's a top 6 guy making more. I could have used him as an example. That said, I really like this deal for the Jets. Yeah. I know myself, like a lot of people, I don't think it's a very unique opinion. The instant that I saw the Pierre-Luc Dubois deal, I was like, oh, the Jets absolutely ran away with this one.
Yeah.
And it just keeps showing. Vilardi has some of the most underrated hands in the league. He's so good in tight, and he just puts up points like mad for them. So them locking him in, and Winnipeg,
he really does.
I guess Winnipeg really hasn't had trouble keeping guys around. It's trying to draw them in to begin with.
See, and that's the thing I was gonna say, right? Because people always act like Winnipeg's like just nobody wants to play. It's like it's hard to bring guys in, and I think other teams, just not even just Winnipeg. I think there's other teams around like that do struggle with that issue. But once players are there, Nikolai Ehlers maybe being the exception, but at the same time, his had nothing to do with the city of Winnipeg. It was about him as a player and wanting more opportunities. Great player, but again, he was a great player for Winnipeg, but it's just like he almost just didn't get utilized properly. And
it always felt like him versus management or the coach.
Yeah. And it's not like the relationship was bad. It was just like he probably would have been happy to stay there if there was no other good offers. But it kind of came down to he needed something new. And we see that with players all the time. It's like, there's players that have left great teams before. And, it's not because they suck or anything. It's just the player needs a change of scenery. And that's fine. But yeah, you look at it. Mark Scheifele and Connor Hellebuck, everybody thought they were gone. Well, boom, they both signed long-term and are probably going to be lifelong Jets. Gabe Vilardi here now loves it there and is probably going to spend the majority of his career there. It'll be interesting to see with Kyle Connor because I believe he's eligible for an extension right now, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see with that. But again, a guy like Gabe Vilardi just put up 61 points in 71 games in his second year at the Jets. Not the greatest playoffs, only 1 goal for 4 points in 9 games, but he did get injured at the end of the regular season and kind of came back in the playoffs, and I don't think he was fully healthy. So I would have liked to maybe see a fully healthy Gabe Vilardi, but when he's healthy and when he's on, great player for the Jets. And again, you got a guy to commit 6 years. They'll take him till he's 31. $7.5 million per year for a guy that's, next year probably going to put up 70 points, potentially 80 on that top line. Awesome. I love it.
Yeah. 25 years of age. Yikes. Honestly, I don't know if I'd seen a picture of him before. It doesn't look 25, but he's playing pretty damn good right now. So congrats to him. And you are correct, by the way. Kyle Connor is eligible for extension. The Jets have a lot of stuff they could do this offseason. I had no idea. Most of their players are eligible for an extension. Like Kyle Connor, Cole Perfetti, Captain Adam Lowry, Gustav Nyquist. Taves signed a 1-year deal there.
Well, Nyquist they just brought in on a 1-year deal, so he's probably most likely a one and done. But hey, if he does what he did with Nashville, maybe sticks around a little bit longer.
Yeah, they got Cole Koepke for a year, Logan Stanley, Colin Miller, Hayden Fleury. Or sorry, not Hayden Fleury, Logan Stanley, Luke Shen. Dylan Sandberg is a RFA with no deal. They need to get him signed. They got a lot of stuff they can do this offseason. So, but they've also got just a little over $8 million cap space at the moment to work with. So I assume it doesn't look like they have any extensions kicking in next year. So they got plenty of money. Like they got no restrictions on
Yeah.
what they need to give guys like Perfetti or Kyle Connor,
Yeah.
the big names.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with them. But for right now, what they've got here, being able to roll out a top line again of Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, Gabe Vilardi, you love that as a Winnipeg Jets fan.
Do you think Adam Lowry plays his entire career with the Jets?
The more I start to look at it, I really do think so. Yeah, I think as the captain and whatnot, and not even being like a top line player, like a good third
very
third
solid
line guy, and
third center.
Eventually, probably goes more into a fourth line center role. I think so. He's the leader of that team.
He's 32 right now.
I think he wants to win a cup in Winnipeg, and I think he'll stay there and just keep fighting for that organization until he's got no more games left in him.
Do you think both sides take an 8-year, $3 million a season deal?
I could see something like that, honestly. I could see something on that more long term, but like less AV. So the player still is getting paid and getting their money, and it also puts the team in a position where they can build a better team, right? Because I don't think Winnipeg's super far off from being a cup contender. I mean, hell, they just won the President's Trophy, right? So I definitely could see something like that.
We've seen a huge recent trend of teams winning the President's Trophy, and then the next season they win the cup. We've seen that I think like 4 or 5 times over the past 10 seasons, something like that. Like I know Tampa did it. I know the Capitals did it. Vegas
Florida
might have even done it.
Did it. Florida went to the cup final and lost, but then they won the following year.
Yeah. So it's when you win the Presidents, it's a very, very good sign for the future. Apparently, unless you're the Rangers.
And the biggest thing, they were one of the few that won the President's Trophy and didn't go out in the first round. almost did. But they didn't. They actually found a way to win a round at least. So.
Instead, they gave us the probably the best game of the playoffs, right? Game 7, Blues Jets. It's got to be that.
It's up there, but
it's really down to that, in my opinion. Game 7, Stars and Avs, or games 1 or 2 of the Cup final.
So many, as you say, you could pick so many games in the Cup final. You could even pick so many games in that Dallas Colorado series too. There was so many in that one that were pretty good. But it's definitely up there. I think it's definitely in the top 5. And for 2 teams like that, to end up with a top 5 game in the playoffs, that's pretty wicked.
Jets,
pretty cool.
They have the rights to one Walker Dewar for our Flames fans listening. Didn't realize it.
Couldn't care less. Just kidding. Sorry, Walker. Moving on here, we do have some trades that have gone on over the last couple of weeks. We got 5 deals here. Well, I guess technically 4, because we already talked about the Samurai Isaac Howard deal. So we'll move on to the next one here. The Dallas Stars trade defenseman Matt Dumba along with a 2028 second-round pick to the Pittsburgh Penguins in exchange for defenseman Vladislav Kolyachonok.
That sounds pretty close.
I think that was pretty good. It's cap dump for Dallas, moving on from Matt Dumba. You didn't need him, didn't work out. And you're Pittsburgh, you take him on for 1 year and a bad salary, and you get a free second. It's a 2028 second, but still a second.
Yeah. Do we know much about this Kolyachonok guy? Is he like projected to be an NHLer, or is it? Because every once in a while, it's like there'll be a prospect that's like he's kind of meant to be something, but a lot of the times it's like this is like an ECHL contract trade.
He's kind of a guy that looks like he's kind of bounced between the NHL and AHL. Nothing
So he's
super
played in some
impressive
games at least.
in the NHL yet, but hey, you know what? We've kind of seen what Dallas can do with some defensemen, and he's only 24, so maybe they can spark some with him, and he could be a solid third pair guy for them.
Fair enough. Um,
But
I love this for Pittsburgh. I love
I
this
love
for
it for
both
both,
sides, really.
honestly. Yeah, I was gonna say I
Dallas
really like
getting
it for
out
both.
from under that Dumba contract. He's making 3.75 for this year. Uh, it After watching how he played for Tampa, I was so shocked that he got that much freaking money. It was shocking to me. And I was one of the few people who wasn't that hard on Dumba for his time with the Lightning. People did not love it. But yeah, great cap move for them, and I love it even more for Pittsburgh, frankly. Getting some draft capital, getting just a guy who's going to play games for you this season. He's not that great, but like this is one of those moves where it's so sounds so goofy and so harsh on Dumba to say, but it's like this is one of those moves where you have so much plausible deniability that you are not purposefully tanking. You just went out and got an almost 4 million a season defenseman. This is not my team tanking. Also, it
Mhm.
might lose us some games. Like
Yeah,
it's a perfect move for, as we've heard from insiders, the only team that is kind of actively trying to tank this year.
yeah.
31 of 32 teams, every team that's not the Penguins is trying to win this season, or at least take a step. So they got some draft capital. They got a guy that maybe they can flip later. If not, he'll play games for them, and he won't be a huge needle mover, and that's kind of a good thing.
Yeah, and then you just wipe your hands clean and say, hey,
Gavin
we got a
McKenna
site
looks
conflict.
really good.
I will say for Dallas, I do like they're not afraid to give up. I mean, again, it is it's a 2028 second, so
Peanuts. Easy.
2 more drafts, and then you still got to wait a whole year before that pick's even going to be used. So to
And they
be
plan on
willing to
being a
give
good
that
team
up
then.
to
So it's going to
to
be like
open up that
60th overall.
cap space. We've seen teams that are up near the top of there and going for a cup that have some less than desirable contracts, and they're too scared to move them. They don't want to give up anything to move them, and then in some cases they end up having to hold on to them. So for Dallas, just be like, you know what, it didn't work out. We got to open up that money. We got to keep making strides to win a cup. I like it for them, but yeah, for Pittsburgh, it's awesome to actually get something back. Considering some other teams either take a player for free that are on a bad contract, or even in some cases pay for that player. So good for Pittsburgh here. Good for Dubas.
Yeah. A team that no longer has Dubas on the records, Toronto, made a trade with Burundi, your San Jose Sharks. This was just a straight up swap, wasn't it? Henry Thrun going to Toronto for Ryan Reeves.
Yeah, one for one clean swap here.
What are your thoughts on this? Because I know we've texted a bit, but we haven't actually been able to talk about this trade since it happened.
So the biggest thing is for people saying fleeced by Toronto. It's a cute way of showing that you don't know shit about hockey, straight up. Um, I really do think this is just a deal that makes perfect sense for both teams. Toronto, obviously, wanting to move on from Ryan Reeves' deal. But again, it's like he's making, I think it's 1.5, but for 1 more year. It's not even a long-term deal. So you're moving him out and you're bringing in, again, a guy, in my opinion, who's is probably like a 7th defenseman, might even spend the majority of the season in the AHL for Toronto in Henry Thrun. There was no room for him in San Jose, especially now with, the insane amount of defensemen they brought in this offseason. There was no room for him. So you make a swap and you bring in a guy like Ryan Reeves, who is just an enforcer. He's just a tough guy who, from everything, we continue to hear from every team he's on, great locker room guy, teammates love him, and he makes everybody feel a bit bigger. And if you're San Jose, you kind of need that almost. You need some toughness in a team that is very young, with a lot of young, talented players, maybe helping them feel a little bit bigger, a little bit more secure. And you've got a guy in Reeves that has no problem going out there and and protecting those guys. So, I think it's just a really good swap for both sides. Yes, is Dunn the better player? Absolutely. But San Jose didn't need him anymore. I'm not even sure if there's room on Toronto for him. And San Jose got something that they needed. And in the case of that, Toronto got to move out salary.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's just a good deal for both teams, in my opinion. It makes sense.
And really for both players. Like, Thrun is, hell, if nothing else, he's a Toronto Maple Leaf. He's on their roster. That gets eyes on him, right? If nothing else, that gets a couple eyeballs to check him out. And he'll probably have a better time getting into the lineup there. It's a less of a logjam in that specific spot there, but also some of the talent is a bit better at the moment there in Toronto, so it's hard to tell. Ryan Reeves is definitely going to make more games in San Jose than he would with Toronto.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's just a good, nice deal for both teams, honestly.
Bringing in a guy who's, by all accounts, incredible for the locker room for a team that already, like, it's so funny looking back at the standings the last 2 seasons and seeing that San Jose has less wins and less points than the Chicago Blackhawks, because the vibes could not be more different. It's San Jose. It just seems like a freaking party bus. They lose freaking 8-2, and they all get on the bus and they all have a freaking party and hang out like bros. And Chicago, it just, oh man, the amount of pictures of Bedard just like looking sad on the bench in the penalty box, whatever. It's like, dude, get this guy some friends. Like, good God.
I expect the vibes to shift in Chicago this year.
Yeah.
I think it's finally going to start to turn around for them.
Their GM really should have been like, hey, Bedard, who have you played with before that's like still a prospect that like you just liked as a guy? Who's a friend? And just like, even if he's a depth guy, maybe he doesn't even make the team. Just pitch a third rounder for 2028 out the door for some prospect most people haven't heard of. That's just Bedard's friend,
Yeah.
And he's just like, all right, I'm gonna give you a contract. Go hang out with Bedard on the weekends. Go cheer him up.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Like, it's just anything to make the vibes a bit better for him. But like I said, again, it's I going into this season now, I fully expect it to.
I think it's finally going to fall together for him.
Yeah.
And
for San Jose and Toronto,
they have a lot of guys taking steps. Frank Nazar at the end from basically January to the end of the season last year looked way better than he had. I expect him and Bedard on the top line next season to be a lot better.
They're going to have some nice pieces finally to put alongside Bedard for sure. Moving on in the trades here, we got a couple of Vancouver trades. Vancouver's been very active here lately. The first one, Vancouver trades the goaltender Arthur Shelovs to the Pittsburgh Penguins in exchange for forward Chase Stillman and a 2027 fourth rounder. I mean, I like it more for Pittsburgh because they're the one that got Shelovs, but for Vancouver, I mean, you have your 2 goalies that you're trying to win with now, signed and locked in long term, so you didn't have a path for a guy like Shelovs anymore, despite how impressive he was at the HL level last year.
Yeah, winning the Calder Cup in the AHL with the Abbotsford Canucks as well. I don't know if he was the playoff MVP. I'm not sure who got that, but if not, he was definitely up there in voting because he played very well. In the playoffs, he had a .931 for them in 24 games.
He was really impressive.
He was absolutely fantastic. I know a lot of people are like, yeah, but that's the AHL. In the NHL this year in 10 games, he put up an .861. First of all, Vancouver, not known for their defensive prowess, outside of a guy like Quinn. Anytime Quinn Hughes isn't on the ice, anyway. But goalies take longer to develop. He's 24 years old. I fully expect Shelovs to be a not necessarily elite, but a bona fide starter at some point in his career in the NHL. To get a guy like that for Chase Stillman and a 4th round pick in 2 years, that's really solid work. Like, I think Dubas is really starting to cook now that he's officially allowed to do a bit of a teardown because he's been awkwardly trying to keep them in contention, even though it's like basically impossible because he's got Crosby. I think he officially has the okay to do a bit of a rebuild now, and I think he's cooking with a lot of these moves.
Yeah, I'm right there with you again. Not too much to say on this deal, but I really do like it for Pittsburgh because you bring in a young goalie who can maybe be part of something long term that they're trying to build as I don't know if you call it necessarily rebuild, retool, whatever you call it. He's definitely a nice piece to add in there, though. And
I think it's going to be a full on rebuild, but I think it's going to be. Thinking. I think it is going to be like an accelerated rebuild because they've got no competition running at the bottom. Everyone else is swimming up.
Yeah. Yeah. So you take 2 years and you stop.
I think some other teams need to join them, man. Like there's some teams like, they showed a lot of promise last year, but let's be real. It was propped up by an insane goaltender. The Calgary Flames, they should probably be looking to be pretty low for
but you're the one saying they can't trade anyone. You're on the camp of you got to keep everyone because they want to be there. But
I'm not saying keep everybody. I've been beating the drum of trade Kadri for a bit now.
But you got to move more than just him.
I do think so. I think, unfortunately, love him. Absolutely love watching him in Calgary. I think he could get a lot for Blake Coleman right now. I don't think his value is going to get much higher. And he's also a good bit older than I thought. I believe he's 32, 33.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do expect the Flames to be a little bit active. And again, they're sticking to their plan. Even though almost making the playoffs last year, they still kind of know that they got to stick in their path of their retool that they're kind of going through. And yeah, I think some guys are going to have to go here soon to stay on the path of maintaining that.
Yeah. Kadri is 34 and Coleman is 33. You move those two guys. Hell, maybe if you even want, you can move a guy like Michael Backlund. He's 36. He's only got 1 year left on his deal. I'm sure a playoff contender would absolutely love to bring a guy like him in. Yeah, there's some stuff they could do. There's just so little competition to get to the bottom in a year where not only is there a guy like Gavin McKenna at the top, but it sounds like all the other guys in that top 10, like a lot of the other top prospects it sounds like it's going to be a very strong draft. So I'm shocked that we haven't seen any other teams, full in be like, all right, let's eat some shit. Like the Bruins kind of seem like they're preparing to turn it around this season, despite selling off like most of their top 4 and most of their top 6 forwards at the same exact time last year. They just decided we're done last season, sold a bunch, and immediately were like, hey, let's get patch those holes back up and let's go back to winning. Which
bold strategy by them.
Looking at their roster, I'm confident they won't be good in a very strong at this point Atlantic division. That logo strikes fear into my heart, man. They could win the Presidents, and I don't know, man. It would make sense somehow.
Just be like,
this freaking
they are. There they are.
They're cockroaches. They will not go away. You cannot beat them. You cannot make them die.
The last of the trades here, sticking with Vancouver, the Vancouver Canucks trade for Dakota Joshua to the Toronto Maple Leafs in exchange for a 2028 fourth rounder. Yeah, seeing another 2028 pick now being thrown out there.
Did this deal feel weird to you? This one felt a little bit out of nowhere. Like, why?
Not really. Dakota Joshua, first of all, kind of going back home, was drafted by the Toronto Maple Leafs back in 2014. He had that, like, not this past season, but the previous season, he had that really good year for Vancouver. In 63 games, putting up 18 goals for 32 points, was a plus 19. And then even continued it in the playoffs. 8 points in 13 games, 4-4.
8 and 13 in the playoffs. Like, good Lord.
But, he obviously was, unfortunately had that diagnosis with cancer and was kind of dealing with that. And I'm sure that's what played the largest part in this past season, only putting up 14 points, 7 goals and 7 assists in 57 games. And then they were paying
Yeah.
him. They gave him a decent contract too after that great year he had the year prior. They gave him some big money for a few years, and maybe they were just not happy with his play. Maybe they're starting to see a little bit of regression in his game. Maybe he just didn't necessarily fit what they're trying to build for now. After this, last year kind of just it all went to shit. So, and they have like no money. They had like no cap space after re-signing Brock Besser. So it's basically just a cap dump, and it's a guy that after this past season, unfortunately, kind of became expendable for them.
I guess, yeah. I was looking at their team and I figured I can't think of too many big name players they have. Surely they've got the cap space, but they really don't. So yeah, they had to move him. And, for a guy that, putting up 14 and 57 isn't obviously great, but the team as a whole did worse last year. And also, he was dealing with his cancer. Like, that's not horrendous. And he had that good season beforehand. It's just, even if you don't have the room, I'm surprised they couldn't get more than a fourth rounder
You
3
couldn't
years
go.
from now.
It's a cap dump. That's all it was. He really didn't have much value. And you look at their team, where they were. Again, I think he was kind of in like that more third line role this past year. But you brought in Evander Kane. You've now got a guy like Filipino. You've got Drew O'Connor. You've got Kiefer Sherwood, who kind of just replaced Joshua almost at this point, based on the incredible year he had with Vancouver. So you just didn't really have room for him in. I think more than anything, Vancouver is kind of just happy to free up and have at least a little bit of money now to work with. Because again, they really had none before this deal.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I really thought Vancouver had more room to work with, but just a couple of those contracts, they really start adding up. They've got a lot of those 3 to 5 mil deals, and then they've got Pettersson making 11.6. They've got Hronut making 7.25, Marcus Pettersson 5.5, Tyler Myers 3. They're spending
And they're still
13
paying like
million a season on
4.5
goalies.
I think it's still 4.5 on the OEL buyout too. They're still paying him a decent bit.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. That's still there for 6 years?
Yeah,
What?
dude, it's rough.
What were
That was a
they
deal that people
doing?
said Vancouver fleeced. People throw out the word fleece too often when a trade first happens, and now it's
I
like,
think
well,
I
look
did. I
at
think I said
Vancouver.
they
They've
did.
got Connor Garland, and Utah's got Dylan Gunther.
Holy
People said
crap.
Arizona at the time got absolutely fleeced. Well, did they? I don't think so.
Well, they're not paying for this, so that's something.
Actually, if you're a Vancouver fan, maybe leave the room. Go take a walk here. I want to throw something out here and see if I'm correct here.
If it's shitting on
Bear
the
with me for
owners, I'm
2
sure
seconds.
the Canucks fans will probably want to hear it, if anything, because most Canucks fans I know definitely don't have a much of a love for their owners or GMs over the
Okay, so
past while.
put it this way, right? Again, if you're a Vancouver fan, just leave. Just go hide. Go put your head under your pillow and just count to 20. People were saying Vancouver fleeced Arizona back in that trade now. Vancouver right now, this is even before Garland's $6 million per year extension kicks in next offseason. As of right now, they're paying more for Connor Garland and the buyout of OEL to go win a Stanley Cup with Florida. They're paying more there than Utah is now on Dylan Gunther's big extension, his 8-year deal.
Was Dylan Guenther part of that trade, or was his like draft pick?
It was a first round. Yeah, it was a first round pick.
Oof, that's good.
So
God.
it's like, yeah, people thought Arizona got swept. Well, now they're paying less for Dylan Guenther than Vancouver is for.
Did OEL have an injury,
all
or did he just fall off?
Kind of just fell off.
He just stopped being
He
the
kind of
guy.
was like struggling a bit in Arizona near the end, but it was like he's still a good player. And it was just like Arizona was shit. It was one of those ones of like,
of course he's going to go.
There
be
was
good
no
somewhere
reason
else.
he shouldn't
then he
have
just
succeeded and been a beast in Vancouver. Garland's been very good. Don't get me wrong. Like I love Garland. I think he's an incredible player for Vancouver and exactly what they needed. But
Very much a fan favorite guy.
it's just one of those things of like you're happy with Garland, but just kind of the way you got him and how the deal worked out wasn't the greatest. But it's not a knock on him as a player at
Yeah.
all.
For those
He's a beast.
interested, the
All right,
OEL
Vancouver fans, come
buyout,
back.
OEL, his buyout, as it stands right now, there is 6 years left on it for Vancouver. Approximately 4.8 for the next 2 seasons. And then after that, it looks like for the rest of it, for the next 4, it goes down to 2.1. So with the cap going up, you won't really notice it after 2 years for the most part. But the 4.8 for the next 2 years is pretty rough. And,
Pretty rough.
if you have $4.8 million for the next 2 seasons, you probably get to keep a guy like Dakota Joshua, who's making what, 3.25 or something right now?
Yeah, something like that.
Like, I think he's making
Probably
less than that. So, yeah, I guess that's why you have to make deals like this. That's rough.
Dakota Joshua is making 3.25 for the next 3 years.
Oh, I thought he was expiring. I thought it was
No.
1 year.
No, he still had some term on that bad boy. Moving on here in the episode, we'll go on to some of our news around the league. We've only got 2 things in here, so probably won't be very long. And then Braden's got some trivia here for us, and then we'll get out of here.
Yes,
and again,
sir.
To make everybody happy and get everybody, actually, I'm not going to say that. That was weird. So I'm not going to say that. But just get everybody excited. We are back to 2 episodes a week. So we are actually recording this on the Tuesday because Braden is feeling better. So you'll be getting this one at some point today if you're listening to it the day it comes out. And then, we'll be back on Friday as usual. We'll be back to 2 episodes a week. For the most part, I think at some points throughout the offseason, we might only have 1. We're still tossing around ideas and coming up with other fun stuff to do when we don't have news. Because again, we're well over halfway through the episode and we're 57 minutes in.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing
we haven't recorded
2 a week.
Almost 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be doing 1 a week for sure throughout the off season.
And it'll always be Friday. It'll always be Friday.
Yeah, and then we're going to try and do 2 a week. If it's a really slow week, we don't have anything, maybe we won't. But for the most part, I think we're gonna do our best to find some stuff. There's 32 teams. And then there's everything that goes on with the league. There's the WHL stuff we want to talk about. Like, we can find hockey stuff to talk about if we want. So, for the most part, we're going to do our best to get 2 a week out.
Yeah.
But,
news around the league, though.
To the Dallas Stars. They have hired Glenn Gulutzan. I think I'm pronouncing it. Gulutzan. As their new head coach. Nobody signed Peter DeBoer yet, have they?
No, and that's the one we talked about. Those the weird one of where DeBoer got fired after all these other teams signed their guys. All these other teams went out and got their guys. So it was like, but again, Peter DeBoer is going to be it was kind of like Todd McClellan, almost to an extent, where it's going to be, whatever team, maybe Nashville. Actually, Nashville would be pretty sick. Whatever team fires their head coach first, Peter DeBoer is going to be the guy going in.
Yeah,
like that's how it's going to happen. But Glenn Gulutzan, former head coach of the Dallas Stars, in 2009 to 2011, he was the head coach of the Texas Stars in the AHL, losing in the AHL finals the first year and then losing in the first round the following year. Got promoted to the head coach of the Dallas Stars for 2 years. Spent 3 years as an assistant coach in Vancouver after that, once he was fired from Dallas. 2 years as the head coach of the Calgary Flames. Spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years as the assistant coach for the Edmonton Oilers.
It's a pretty decent resume.
They got a guy that had a scope on that Edmonton Oilers locker room and everything for 7 years. And they're bringing him over to lead the charge for him. So maybe that's exactly what Dallas needed.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy's watched Connor McDavid from behind the scenes for the majority of his career at that point. Like, you probably pick up a couple good things or two. And not to mention, Edmonton loves bringing in all their old guys. Like, all the top names from their dynasty years in the 80s, the vast majority of them work there in some capacity. Like, whether it's a consultant or some kind of manager of something, they have so many guys hovering around. So you probably pick up a decent bit from a lot of those guys as well. So I think this is a good hiring. It's not a big sexy name that jumps out at you because not a ton of people know it right now, but I feel like people are gonna remember his name pretty quickly now that he's with the Stars. He's coming into a pretty good situation.
Very good situation. So again, not much to say on it, but again, you know what, for a signing that again isn't the sexiest name maybe out there, that the Stars could have gone with, I think this is a hire that is going to be very good for them.
And if nothing else, he's clearly a guy that people like, which is sometimes arguably more important than being good at your job. In this
look
league.
At how many head coaching changes Edmonton had. In the last 7 years. An assistant coach stayed there the entire time.
That says something. And
I think that says a lot.
They clearly like the guy because he worked with the Texas Stars for years and head coached for the Dallas Stars for a couple of years, and they decided to bring him back. Like,
the reunion.
No bad blood, nothing there. Like,
likable dude.
Quite a few things that point good, but you gotta see the results on the ice, especially when you're a team with cup aspirations like the Stars. So if he doesn't do great, I imagine he's got a leash of 2 years, 3 years. Kind of depends how they lose as well, obviously. If it's a game 7 in the conference finals, I mean, that sucks, but what can you do? If they were to miss the playoffs, I imagine he's pitched out the door immediately.
Yeah, I got high hopes for it, though. I think this is an under the radar kind of pick, an underrated pick.
It's fun to see guys that we don't know get picked.
Yeah,
it's a lot of recycling the same
fun,
guys,
and it makes it more exciting, right?
Yeah.
And the last little bit of news we got around the league, the Columbus Blue Jackets forward Igor Chinakhov has requested a trade at the organization. Kind of sounds like it's just not necessarily really seeing eye to eye with the coaching staff and the players ready for
not even the full coaching staff. He really singled out who's their head coach right now.
Dean Evison.
Dean Evison, yes. He very specifically said like he does not seem to get along with Dean Evison. So, he has requested trade, but I would be shocked if Columbus wasn't at least doing their due diligence to, check in. Hey, how important is Dean Evison to the locker room? Is Chinakhov more important? Do we think Dean Evison is that good of a coach?
Dean Evison was very instrumental to the success of Columbus last year.
Okay, fair enough.
The stuff I've heard, and then some of the videos, especially just with all kind of the Johnny Gaudreau stuff all throughout the year, seeing a lot of the stuff behind the scenes of how Evison was in the locker room. I don't think that's a guy you even consider getting rid of right now.
Okay, fair enough.
And you also don't want to have a player basically be like, this is who the coach is going to be until I'm happy.
No, especially if if Connor McDavid says that, you probably do it. But, we're talking about Igor Chinakhov.
Like, you fire Dean Evison, you bring in whoever, and then Chinakhov's like, I don't see eye to eye with him, trade me. It's like, well, no,
it's more of a if you could already make a reason to get a new head coach and it would keep Chinakhov around, is it worth exploring? I wasn't sure how much with Dean Evison there, and especially with a guy like Peter DeBoer is currently on the free agent market as a coach. So if you could bring him in and that keeps Chinakhov around, maybe that's good. But it's an incredibly complicated situation with the whole Gaudreau stuff, and even going back to the Kivlenik stuff in Columbus, they've just had it so rough over the past several years at this point. So if he's important to the locker room, you absolutely keep him around.
Yeah, but I could be wrong, but kind of everything
it's hard to tell. It's a lot of speculation.
It sounds like he's pretty He's got a good hold on that locker room, and they've created a good culture there.
As far as Chinnikov goes, have you heard anything? Have you heard any teams
I've
kicking
heard
tires
nothing.
on him? I was going to say, because
I've
I
heard
haven't heard.
absolutely nothing.
They must be keeping a tight lid on it, or they're taking their vacation and dealing with it later. Because I mean, we are also at the time of year where all the insiders are on beaches. They're all. It's a very open and shut secret that this is the time of year where, okay, we're a couple weeks out from the draft, free agency. All the GM's phones are off. Like all the insiders' phones are off. Everyone's taking their break. Like
Yeah.
this is when people aren't working. They work the rest of the year so they can chillax and hang out right now. So I don't expect anything on it too soon, but at the same time, there are always a couple of GMs that are still going. That's why the trades we were talking about before featured so many repeat teams. Vancouver was in 2 of the 5 trades. Pittsburgh was in 2 of the 5. Toronto was in 2 of the 5. Like it's only a few guys who are still really thinking about it. Most of them are on beaches though.
Well, hell, wasn't even until mid-August of last year when Askarov finally got moved. Like GMs are always actively kind of looking at stuff, but just during the offseason, there's no rush to get anything done. So this is something that it might not get done till middle of August because there's no need to rush things at all. It's just you just basically kind of got to get it done before the regular season starts.
There's a good chance that's why Brisebois moved Isaac Howard so soon in the offseason, because he's like, I don't want this hanging over my head when I come back in August, and I want to get it done now, and I don't have to worry about it later. Nobody's picking up their phones if I call them halfway through July. Like,
well, the thing with Isaac Howard too is you had to move him before school started. You had to have him moved in somewhere where he would sign before he started playing college again.
Yeah.
So they were in that case for Tampa. Yeah, they were like they kind of had to figure something out sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
couldn't sit on their hands too long.
Man, he could end up being a middle six guy, but at the same time, there's a fairly decent chance he's playing on like Draisaitl's wing or something.
Yeah,
this next year. So who knows, man? He could be that guy. He could be that bitch.
Could go good or could go bad. We talked about a guy like Jeff Skinner or Victor Arvidsson who got traded. Both very good players that were supposed to light up the league on that second line with Draisaitl, and didn't work out. So it really comes down to the effort of the player, and is there any chemistry that can be formed? And if there is, definitely could be a dangerous duo on that second line. But with all of this, all we can do is speculate. We just got to wait and see how everything plays out. But to move on to our final segment here, wrap up the episode, Braden here has some trivia of some sorts here for us. So Braden, do you want to hit us with what we're doing here?
Yeah, so I've got this was uploaded by the NHL's official Reddit user, who, by the way, over the past year, you go on Reddit and it's sorted by the subreddits, right? So most people talking hockey go to r/hockey, right? That's the hotbed for it. r/NHL is a little bit of a cesspool. It's a lot of weird. It almost seems like a lot of like bots and stuff. But the NHL user has been posting a lot in this past year. They clearly increased the social media budget or something. So we're getting some nice produced stuff over there, which is cool. Including graphics like this. This is goals by type for the 24-25 season. By type means, so I got here wrist shot, snapshot, slap shot, backhand, and tipped in. So we got the top 5 players, in some cases a couple more if they're tied near the bottom. And so I'm just going to give you some numbers. I'm going to give you the types, and I guess I'll give you a couple of guesses on who the top guys are, and then I'll read off the lists.
Okay.
So first up, we are going to start with wrist shot. The guy in first has 28 goals this season with his wrister. He is the only guy to get up to 28. And the guy in fifth has 21 with 2, 3, 4 being somewhere in between. I guess I'll just throw it to you. Do you have any guys that you want to guess for in that top 5 for wrist shot?
Top 5 for wrist shots.
Some of these guys make a lot of sense. 1 and 2 both surprise me that they're at least 1 and 2.
Just trying to think of guys like like the last one would be like like a Connor McDavid. But it's like McDavid scores so many different goals. He doesn't really score a bunch of the same way.
He doesn't really score a lot by shooting, if that makes it. Like, I guess most of his you would probably call a snapshot. Like, his shot is so insane. It doesn't look like it looks like he takes a wrist shot, but holding it out away from his body.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like a deking shoot, like it shot, like it's
yeah.
He has the most deceptive shot for sure in the league.
I won't go with McDavid, but I'll throw out the guy. I mean, he won the Rockets, so maybe I'll throw out Leon Draisaitl, but I don't think he's probably on here.
Well, you'd be correct in that assessment. He is not in the top 5 for wrist shots. So he had 20 or less.
I'm just trying to think of guys that put up some goals this year.
There's definitely quite a few of the top goal scorers.
Austin Matthews. Yeah, I'll throw in Matthews maybe.
It is not Austin Matthews on here.
Pasternak.
But he does have some teammates on there. Pasternak's not on here either.
Matthews has some teammates. So William Nylander.
William Nylander is 4th with 22 wrist shot goals.
John Tavares.
And John Tavares is 5th with 21.
Wow. So I still have the top 3.
It's weird. I would say the 4 and 5 might be two of the easiest ones to get.
He's got a pretty good wrist shot, and I know he started to rack up some goals. Tage Thompson might be in there.
Tage Thompson is 2nd with 27.
Wow. So he is okay. I was going to say, because he's like all the highlight goals I see from him is just a nice wrist shot.
Yeah.
You
got number 1 and 3. There's a pretty good chance you get number 3. Number 1, if you gave me 20 guesses, I don't think I'm guessing number 1.
Kyle Connor, maybe?
Crazy.
Kyle Connor?
No Kyle Connor.
Nikita Kucherov?
Nope.
Mark Scheifele?
No, sir.
Nathan McKinnon?
No. I'll give you 3 more.
Fuck. Trying to think like the top goal scorers on every team.
Yeah. It feels like this should be an easy thing to guess, but like honestly, looking at a lot of the names, like I would be shocked if you got, all of them on each of these.
Just trying to think. I'm just trying to. Cole Caulfield.
No. No Cole Caulfield. 2 more.
Nazem Kadri.
Nazem Kadri is number 1 with 28 wrist shot goals this year.
How many?
For a team that 28.
He only had 34 goals?
Yeah, like for a team that could not score this year, freaking every time he got it and ripped a wrister, it was going in apparently.
Who's the top goal scorer? That's incredible that he's won. Top goal scorer on Let's Go.
I believe this guy was in the top. He might have been in the top 5 for goals this year. Definitely top 10. He might have cracked the top 5.
I'm just trying to think of guys that were like near just the top of their own respective team in goals, and maybe.
Yeah. I believe he led his team in goals.
Do I have one guess left? I'm just trying to be quick here for time's sake. Detroit had no one to put up no one on Florida, no one on already Buffalo, already Boston, no Carolina, no Islanders, no Rangers, no New Jersey. I don't know. Matt Duchene.
You know what? A fair guess. Put up 82 points last year, I believe. Number 3 was Braden Point with 23 wrist shot goals.
Fuck, did I not say Point when I went through?
You,
Did I just throw? Oh, maybe I just threw out Kucherov.
I'm pretty sure it was just Kuch.
Shit.
I was shocked that you got Kadri though.
Well, I was just going through teams of thinking like who's every team's top goal scorer.
Yeah.
And like I was going through Pacific, and Vancouver had no one, Anaheim had no one, San Jose had no one. Vegas didn't have any. I don't think Vegas had a guy crack 30 goals.
Why do I feel like Dorofeyev hit 30?
Actually,
I feel like Dorofeyev might have hit like exactly 30, but there's no way he's their top goal scorer.
I wouldn't have sniffed him. I wouldn't have picked him. I think it was on pace for maybe to be Hurdle, but then he got injured. Dorofeyev had 35, Hurdle had 32, then Eichel had 28.
Brett Howden had 23. Dorofeyev did lead them in goals too.
Yeah.
That's wild. Point did lead them in goals this year with 42.
I thought I said
Jake Gensel, and Jake Gensel had 41.
Crazy. That's impressive for Kadri though. That's very impressive.
Yeah. So those are wrist shot goals. We'll move on here to snapshot.
Snapshot. So Draisaitl's got to be on here.
Draisaitl is number 1. He has 23. The guy in second has 18. So he's got at least 5 on number 2 here.
Ovi?
Ovi is number 3. He has 17.
17.
So you got 2 and 4, and then we don't have to go through all of them, but I'll let you know if you guess any of them, because there's 5 players tied in 5th with 14.
Okay. Nathan McKinnon.
No Nathan McKinnon.
David Pasternak.
No Pasternak.
Nikita Kucherov.
No Kucherov. This one's definitely a bit of a harder list, it looks like.
Sam Reinhart.
Sam Reinhart is one of the 5 players in 5th with 14.
Who's the other guy's name? John Tavares, William Nylander. Either of those two.
William Nylander is one of the players in 5th.
Like tied for 5th?
Yes.
Okay. Dorofeyev. Now that I know he put up 35.
No, Pavel Dorofeyev is not there.
Matt
He's
Duchene.
Probably up there for power play goals. No Matt Duchene.
No Matt Duchene. Well, it definitely can't be Kadri. Connor McDavid.
No Connor McDavid.
All right, I'm stumped.
He's on the picture with Draisaitl.
Not good enough. Not good enough.
So the other players are in second with 18, Seth Jarvis.
Wow.
Number 4, because you got number 3 at Ovechkin. Number 4 is Wyatt Johnston with 15.
Yeah, I don't think I would have got that.
Yeah, like those are 2 pretty tough pulls. And then the ones you didn't get for 5th are, I'm not sure if you said Dylan Larkin, Mark Scheifele, or you might have said Nick Suzuki.
No.
Are all tied with 14.
Good for them. Yeah, I would not have gotten the Jarvis one for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, like those, Draisaitl, Ovechkin, it makes sense to guess. Jarvis and Johnston, it still makes sense, but it's a lot. It'll take more guesses for sure.
Hey, good for all those guys, though. That is very impressive that they're up near the top there for that.
This one seems bizarre to me. So now we're moving on to slap shots. Number 1 would take me a long time to guess, straight up. I would get 2. There's 2 guys tied for 3. I would at least get one of them. The guys tied for 5th, I would get 2 of them, and I would probably never guess the other guy. There's 2 names on here, that one in 5th and one in 1st, that are kind of crazy to me, and all the other ones make perfect sense.
Okay. Guys that like slappers.
Big booming slapper.
Well, I'm going to throw out Ovi.
Ovi is one of the 2 tied in 3rd. He has 9. Numbers are much lower for this one. The guy in 1st has 11.
Yeah, not many slappers are scored nowadays. Stamkos probably from power play goals.
Stamkos is second with 10.
Kind of his go-to.
Certified Hood Classic.
Who else could be on this list? I'm just trying to think of guys that I know take lots of slappers.
Yeah. One of the guys tied for third
Um,
is on the Seattle Kraken.
Seattle
If that
Kraken.
helps.
Let's take lots of slappers.
Who's got a booming
goals
bomb?
on Seattle that likes to slap it?
It's
They don't
9
really have any
goals.
forwards.
It's 9 goals, so it's not a huge amount. So it might be just the way this guy scores most of his goals.
Vince Dunn, maybe?
It is not Vince Dunn, but you're on the right track with defensemen.
Okay, so then it's Montour then.
Brandon Montour, also tied with Ovechkin for 9.
Debate between those two. Montour, good for him. Wow.
Right? People were worried that he wouldn't be able to translate it in Seattle, but he was pretty good for him.
Guys that take lots of slappers. Trying to be quick here. Cole Caulfield, maybe?
Not Cole Caulfield.
Counts on power now. Okay.
It's a guy on his team.
Suzuki?
Nope. Still on that power play, though.
Oh, Patrick Laine.
Patrick Laine is one of the 3 guys tied in 5th with 8.
Tage Thompson might be in there, actually.
He's tied for 5th.
Slapping him. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. He's also got 8. So you've gotten all the ones that I would have expected you to probably get. One of the others is tied for 5th, and the other one is in 1st. I mean,
who would be in 1st?
Admittedly, I don't watch a lot of the games for the team the guy in 1st is on, so maybe he takes a lot more than I give him credit for.
Shit.
But it would have taken a while.
I'm not sure. Without any hints, I got no clue off the top of my head.
He was on a team in the Pacific. He's on a team in the Pacific that made the playoffs. I believe he's their top goal scorer.
Oh. I don't know if he led the team, but Kevin Fiala.
Every time I watch
LA games, he is one. As you say, every time I'm watching Kings games, actually, he loves to just try and wind up for one.
I would say I did not know that,
but he just misses the net like horrendously.
Like just the fact that the names below him in order are Stamkos, Ovechkin. It's like fuck.
Yeah,
he must be ripping it.
I know he attempts a lot, but I didn't think he would have had 11 though.
Yeah,
it was 11
honestly,
or 10?
11 for him.
Oh, okay, 11. Yeah.
Yeah, Stamkos 10, Ovi and Montour both at 9, and the other 3 tied at 8.
Who's the other guy?
With how good one-timers are, I'm surprised the numbers aren't a little bit higher for this. I'm honest.
Yeah.
Like, the other guy that we haven't mentioned tied for 5th is Sebastian Aho with 8. Does not at all, to me, seem like the kind of guy who takes a lot of slap shots.
It actually kind of makes a little bit sense, but I would have never guessed. He probably would have been like the 5th guy I would have guessed on Carolina.
Yeah.
But like it makes a little bit of sense actually, because he does score a lot of power play goals. And he's more of a perimeter guy on the power play.
Yeah, good for him.
But it still wouldn't have been one of my first 3 picks even on that team.
Yeah. Next up we have backhand. We have one guy in 1st with 8. And then we have 7 players tied in 2nd.
It has to be Braden Point at 1. What was his that graph you sent me last week? All the goals he's got in front of the net.
And you would be correct. Yeah. He is number 1 with 8. And then there's 7 guys tied with 6.
How many goals did he have in just in the crease area this year? 20 something?
I could bring that up.
It was something ridiculous.
Pretty recently in the group chat here.
It was something ridiculous.
Yeah, he had 27 goals in the immediate slot right around the net. And then he also had 6 over on the far left side.
Yeah, nuts. Which makes sense.
I love that they do this graphic every year now. That's a very interesting graphic to look at.
So how many other guys am I looking for?
There's 7 tied with 6.
So
So I can just
Sidney
give you
Crosby.
like 10-ish guesses, something like
Sidney
that.
Crosby.
See how many you get. Sidney Crosby is not on there.
Connor McDavid.
McDavid, not on there.
Leon Draisaitl.
Draisaitl is on there.
William Nylander.
Nylander is not.
Pasternak.
Pasternak is not. I can't believe he hasn't shown up yet.
Rantanen.
No Rantanen.
Duchesne. Give me Duchesne.
No Matthew Duchesne.
McKinnon.
No McKinnon either.
Connor Garland.
I love that guess, but he's not
just
on
throwing
here.
out names.
There are more depth guys on here for sure.
So okay, so crash the net. Crash
Three
the net.
three guys
Crash
on
the
here
net.
who were in the Cup final this year. I guess you already guessed Draisaitl.
Corey Perry?
Corey Perry is on there.
That guy crashes in. Okay. Sam Reinhart.
No Reinhart. The other one.
Sam Bennett?
Oh no, not Sam Bennett. That's my fault.
Oh.
I was thinking other Selke nominees.
Oh, okay, Barkov.
Barkov.
I was like, the other one. Oh, yeah, Sam Bennett. I
don't know if Bennett knows how to take a backhand.
doesn't know how to do pull up. But he knows how to hold a cup over his head. So all worked out. Shit. I can't think of anyone else really. I think I'm also well over like 10 guesses.
Yeah, sure. There's a couple repeats on here from other areas. Kevin Fiala, John Tavares, Seth
Tavares.
Jones.
Seth Jones?
Oh, sorry, Seth Jarvis.
I say, holy shit! What's
Yeah,
Seth Jones been doing all year behind the scenes?
Yeah, 6 backhanders from a defenseman would be pretty wild. And then Warren Fogle.
Oh, Warren Fogle. You know what? I feel like I probably should have got Fogle, actually. He had like 22 goals or something with LA this year. And he's always just crashing the net. I feel like I should have got Fogle.
Yeah, good for him.
It says Jarvis again. Flies under the radar.
Yeah. I love the look of going through these graphics, and each one has the 1 to 5, and then this one is just Braden Point at 1, and then 7 guys tied in second.
Yeah.
He's got great hands in close, but I think he loves going backhand on breakaways as well, which probably helps.
Yeah.
Very old school breakaway move.
Was that the last wrist slap backhand? And
tipped in shots.
Ooh,
which unfortunately Pavelski isn't around to dominate this list anymore. So
best tip in the league.
This one is very much like, the guys who tip it in, right? It's not all your all stars. You're not going to be finding Draisaitl on this list. You got a guy at 1, you got a guy at 2, and you got 3 tied at 3 at 12, 9, and 8 respectively.
Joe Pavelski, by the way, hell of a golfer.
He won like the US
American
Open or something.
American Century Championship. It's kind of still a big golf fan, but it's kind of like for more so not like professional golfers necessarily. Kind of more.
It's like professional athletes in other sports, basically. Like wasn't
Steph Curry was in it.
Steph Curry was there.
I think the Miz might have been. I know he has been in previous years.
Cool.
Joe Pavelski,
that would be such a cool event to go to and just see a who's who of random celebrities.
Yeah, and then seeing like, damn, they're some of the best in their own sport, but then they go out there and they're like terrific golfers as well, just great athletes. These guys.
I'm just imagining the Miz going to like putt, and he's like in his full in-ring gear, like he's got the trunks on and his giant boots.
Yeah. Tipped in.
A tipped in shot is a tip in is a shot deflected off the player's stick, not his body. It specifically says that.
Okay, so it can't be Hurdle using his big ass.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we will not be seeing Pat Maroon on this list.
Braden
Probably
Point might.
had a lot of ass goals.
He had a lot of goals in and around the net. He might be up there.
He is not on this list.
Pasternak eventually, right?
No, Pasternak was not on in the top 5 on any of these.
He just scores every way imaginable.
Yeah, he was probably like number
Jack of all
6 on
trades.
wrist shots, snap shots, and slap shots. I can't believe he's not on slap shot.
I'm just trying to think of guys that I've even just seen like one deflection goal to just be like, oh, maybe them. Do I have to run through like all the big name guys? Is there any like major big name guys? Okay. So I have to run through them. When I say major, I mean like the superstars.
Yeah, the biggest name guy on here, I believe, is making less than 8 mil a season.
Okay.
So like no superstars. Basically, all of these guys scream top 6 player, but none of them are like definitely a first line guy on any team.
Okay.
Seth sorry, Jarvis. Was there? No Seth Jarvis.
Matt Duchesne.
No Matthew Duchesne.
Connor Garland.
No Connor Garland.
Warren Fogle. Corey Perry.
No Warren Fogle. No Corey Perry.
I think
Brock Besser. Brock Besser is number 2 with 9.
Number 2. 9. Ooh. He got a couple. I didn't think
I'm trying to double check in my mind. I believe, even though there's 5 players, I think there's only 3 teams represented here. Ooh. I think there's two sets of teammates.
Ooh, okay. So maybe there's another Vancouver guy. Wouldn't be Pedersen.
No, he's not getting in front.
Man. See, I was thinking that, but I was just gonna say he's not making more than 8. I didn't want to throw under the bus like that.
Seward him.
I don't. Maybe there's anyone else on Vancouver then. If it's not Connor Garland, Jake DeBrusk.
Jake DeBrusk is tied for 3rd with 8.
Jake DeBrusk. Wow,
that was a good signing by them.
Nick Suzuki's making too much. Slavkovsky. I don't know.
No Slavkovsky.
Ryan Reeves.
No Ryan Reeves.
Fuck. John Tavares. He seems to have been on a lot of lists.
No Tavares.
No Tavares.
Different
Sam
Atlantic
Bennett.
team. No Sam Bennett.
Tage Thompson. Actually, I think Tage Thompson's making too much.
I'm not sure what he's making, but it's not Tage Thompson.
Brandon Hagel.
No Hagel.
No Hagel. Dylan Larkin.
No Larkin.
Alex DeBrincat.
No. Different Alex.
Alex Tuck.
Alex Tuck. Number 1 with 12 on the season.
Wow. For Tuck. Wow.
Yeah. In first with 12, Besser with 9, and then the other 3 all have 8. So quite a few more than anybody else in the league, really.
How many more guests do I get? Like 3?
Sure. You've got Tuck, Besser,
Jarvis.
and DeBrusk. No Jarvis. I think you already guessed Jarvis.
Maybe I did, actually.
You got one of Tuck's teammates, I believe.
Supposed to be deflecting on Buffalo. It can't be Tage Thompson.
I'm gonna Google and make
Wouldn't
sure.
Count Paterka. Jason Zucker?
Yes, Jason
Zuckerberg.
Yep, he has 8 as well. Is he still with them, or is he on the Wild?
He resigned there.
Okay,
he resigned.
I wasn't 100% sure, and then I Googled him, and the first picture is him in a Wild jersey.
Ryan Donato. That's a fun one.
That is a fun one, but he
put up a lot of goals. Fuck. One more guess, and I'm gonna go.
He's on the Rangers.
I know. Oh, really? I was just gonna say Matt Rempe. I was gonna throw Matt Rempe
Not
on
off
the
his body.
Rangers. Wouldn't be Panarin. Who's their power play? Would be a guy like in the middle. Not Panarin, not Fox. Chris Kreider. But maybe I don't know because he's on Anaheim now, but he was a member of the Rangers. Oh no, he didn't score. Never mind. I'm not saying that. Fuck, probably 2 years ago he probably led. He didn't score at all
Maybe a
this year.
couple years ago he would have.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm not doing Chris Kreider. I take that back.
You better.
Who has taken all Kreider's goals? Vincent Trocheck.
Vinny Trocheck with 8. Nice.
He only had to hold my hand through it all, but actually, I got Besser.
Yeah,
I got Besser.
you got Besser. You went back and got DeBrusque. You got a couple of those. They're also pretty tough to guess. Like you're trying to guess these guys. So. You're thinking guys with good hand-eye. You're thinking, Crosby, Point. Used to guess Pavelski. Like the list runs out pretty quick when you're trying. Yeah, like even with the hint of none of them are making $8 million, that just, if anything, also almost makes it harder because now know that the pool of guys is basically endless to guess from.
Yeah. Good for Tuck, though. I did not think I did. I wasn't even thinking Tuck until you said the other Alex.
Yeah, he
would not have.
He's one of those guys that I thought we might be trading for near the deadline. And every time I see a stat from him, I'm like, fuck, he looks like a really good player.
So good. He's so good. That was fun. I like doing that. That was a good little
and those graphics
kind of tied into the end of last season to kind of, give us a little recap of more stuff that maybe we missed. But that is the end of the episode here. We are fully back. Sigma Podcast is back and rolling. We'll be back on Friday. And maybe we'll try and maybe look for something of doing. And you guys can, reach out to us on any of our socials. You know where they all are. They're on the links. They're all down below. Maybe you can let us know if something like this. Maybe something on Fridays. Maybe Fridays we do. I guess either or. One can be one can be the other between Friday and Tuesday. But one day can be like news around the league, catching up on everything. And then the other one during the week can be whatever we want. We'll come up with stuff. I know we kind of tossed around the idea of maybe doing, who would be on like our Mount Rushmore of NHL players or something like that. And we can do an episode kind of talking about like that. Or maybe we can do an updated list and do like our top, 10 players at each position going into next season or something, or stuff like that. So we can kind of split up. So like one episode a week is news, keeping up around the league, and the other one's just fun shit and us just kind of just shooting this shit.
The off season talking about stuff that you'd expect.
Yeah,
it's hard to keep talking about what happened last year all through the off season. Like at a certain point, you gotta kind of make your own fun with it. So
like we did this off season reviews and previews for every team during the off season last year, but I was very stern that we're never doing that again.
Yeah, that was a lot. That was
it was fun to try out like once, but never again. At least not in the format that we did.
Yeah, if we were to do it again, it would be one episode we cover the entire Atlantic Division or something.
Yeah,
like it wouldn't be an episode for one or two teams.
Yeah,
that was a lot.
It was fun. It was fun. I will say that, but just a lot of work and just a long process to get through it all. But
yeah,
again,
it's good to keep us current on all the teams.
Yeah, did keep us up to date on everything that was going on. Nice little refresh too. But maybe we'll do something like that. But like you said, we'll just do entire divisions per episode. But that is it for this episode. Hope y'all enjoyed. Hope y'all happy that we are back. I know we're happy to be back and back in the swing of things. Braden,
absolutely.
It's been a bit, but as always, I must ask you final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I mean, like we said, GMs, pretty much all of them are on break, and it sounds like this one specifically is over in Minnesota. But at some point in this offseason, before September comes around, keep an eye out for a new highest paid player in the league. in Kirill Kaprizov. Sounds like he's going to get a huge extension whenever that comes in.
I would like to see that. I think he is the glue to the Minnesota Wild, and they definitely need to hold on to their franchise piece. But it's a good final thought. That's it for this episode. Once again, hope you all enjoyed. And as always, we will see all of you lovely, beautiful people out on the ice later this week.